Are you struggling to get your Angular 2 application to work seamlessly with your Spring Boot backend? You're not alone. Today, we're diving into a common issue that many developers face when integrating these two powerful technologies. I totally get it. You followed a tutorial, set everything up, and yet, when you try to access certain URLs, you hit a wall with errors and 404s. It's frustrating, especially when you know your Angular 2 app is working perfectly in its own context. Here's the specific situation we're addressing. One user successfully integrated their Angular 2 application with a Spring Boot backend, but they're facing issues with Spring intercepting requests to the /UI path. They want to know how to allow the Angular 2 router to navigate properly without hitting those pesky errors. So, what's happening here? When you set up your Spring Boot application, it intercepts all requests to the /UI path, which prevents the Angular 2 router from functioning correctly. This is a common issue when integrating front-end frameworks with back-end servers. Stick around, because at the end of this video, I'll share a simple solution that will have your Angular 2 app running smoothly with Spring Boot in no time. To allow Spring to pass through the URLs under the /UI path, the user needs to modify their Spring configuration. This involves adding a new request mapping that will handle all requests to /UI and its subpaths. Next, the user should ensure that the Angular application is properly configured to handle routing. This means that the Angular router should be set up to manage the paths under /UI. After updating the Spring configuration and Angular routing, the user should test the application. They can do this by entering various URLs directly in the browser to ensure they are routed correctly. If the user still encounters issues, they may need to check their server logs for any errors. This can help identify if there are any misconfigurations or missing resources. Fun fact, did you know that the first web applications were just simple HTML pages? Look how far we've come with frameworks like Angular and Spring Boot. Now, let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative solution was shared by a user who successfully resolved the issue. They created a request mapping in a controller to handle the URL paths under /UI. This mapping forwards requests to the index.html file, allowing the Angular router to function correctly. Let's take a moment to review another user's answer. An alternative solution suggests adding resource handlers to configure static content serving in Spring Boot. This involves creating a configuration class that extends WebMVC configurer adapter. You can specify the resource handler for the /UI path and point it to the location of your Angular files. Let's take a look at another answer from another user. An alternative solution provided by another user suggests using Angular's hash location strategy. This approach allows you to manage routing without Spring intercepting the requests. To implement this, you need to import hash location strategy from Angular's common module and provide it in your application. And here's a pro tip. Always ensure your routing in Angular is set up to handle deep links. This will save you a lot of headaches down the road. And there you have it. With this simple adjustment, your Angular 2 application should now work flawlessly with your Spring Boot backend. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more tips and tricks.